The Pokemon Company International has gone evil. We're going to get into today how the insane chief legal officer and their crazy policies of lawfare and DEI are destroying the company that we all love, that we all grew up with. They're destroying our childhood, and they are hell bent on doing the absolute worst things. We have that all exposed today on the Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney over here in Asia. And this has been really a crazy story. And the more you crack into it, the more we crack into it, the crazier it gets. Now, they thought we were going to go away after 1 day or 2 days. They thought the news cycle was going to blow over. Oh, no, no. The Pokemon International Company and their rabbit hole goes deep. And the corruption within this company and their entrenchment within the DEI industrial complex with all sorts of other lawfare is absolutely insane. It's nuts. And the more you look at this, the more there is to turn over. Now, I'm going to go through a long form interview in my live version. So if you want to see that, and it's really cool, you're going to need to watch the live version. But this is a fast facts video. It's meant to be the quick and dirty version of latest legal news. So we're going to keep it brief. We're going to keep it short. But if you like these shorter versions, you can like the video and you can comment below. So let's get right in today. Of course, I've got a PP. Of course, I've got a fresh one for you on Pokemon going evil. Now, the first thing is, of course, I want to do a little refresher on our campaign. Of course, this is Stop the Pokemon Company International, and we're also tagging the Japanese company tags. Once again, I'm going to say this several times, but it's very important to tag the Japanese company because we need to get the attention of Japan. Right now, the Japanese company is not aware of how crazy it's going in the United States. They don't really know. They don't really have close oversight in the organizational structure. They kind of just say, hey, you guys do your thing over there in America, but don't embarrass us. Well, they're embarrassing them. And we need to make it clear to the Japanese company and to the Japanese side of things that this is absolutely going the wrong way. We need to get their attention, and we need to make sure that they know what's going on. So we're going to engage in whatever behavior is necessary to get these things done. The requests are really simple. Settle the lawsuit with Palworld, right? It's better to coexist than to legally destroy competition. They can both exist. There's no reason why they need to go and try to crush this company other than some zealous, crazy attempt to control the entire genre, to control everything that even remotely looks like Pokemon at all. Also to cease the lawfare against the modding community. The precedent that they will set will stop modding pretty much forever when it's applied to other cases. Once again, people who are defending Nintendo, that are defending this, they hyper focus on these specific patents and they get in the details and they start arguing, well, they filed it then, they filed it then. You're missing the point, right? You're missing the forest. You're looking at a tree. The point is, when you set case precedent, when you go to court and you get a ruling, that ruling is used in other ways, broader ways, beyond just what that one little case says. So while you might have an argument pro Pokemon Company, right? While you might be able to defend them, you need to understand that when we talk about cases, we're looking at the big picture. We're looking at the law, because as you see in the law, one little case can change everything, not just in the country, but in the world, because IP is global. These are considerations all around the world. These impacts are massive for gaming, and it cannot be understated. I'm not understanding this at all whatsoever. They also need to cease the patent trolling behavior. They're engaging in registering overly broad patents in an attempt to control the genre. And what we really want them to do is go back to the original vision, go back to the vision of the creators, right? Go back to the original people. But what the normal Pokemon is doing, what the modern Pokemon is doing is they are destroying the old Pokemon. They have made the original people, the original vision, they've destroyed it, they perverted it, and they made them into villains. So we're going to show you, excuse me there, I need to get my water, but we're going to show you how they are tearing this company down and destroying everything we love. So I'm going to get into it real quick. What can we do? What's the strategy? Once again, the American branch has gone wild with litigation DI. The Japanese company is giving them almost no oversight. If you guys have listened to my coverage of Niji Sanji, the VTuber companies, very, very similar to what I've covered with those guys. As you saw with Niji Sanji, the blackest of black companies, right? They really didn't care. They really don't care about their overseas foreign brands, similar with many other VTuber companies, which are big Japanese corporations. Remember, there's a cultural aspect to this, and a lot of Japanese corporations operate like this. They're very hands-off with their branches. You see that here, in Asia, when there's, for example, the Japanese parent company and they have a subsidiary in another country, they often are very, very hands-off. They just say, hey, bring us the money and don't cause trouble, right? So what they said to them and what we know they said is, hey, don't embarrass us or the brand. Remember, they're publicity shy. That's something they said, their former counsel said themselves, right? Which may have been a little bit of a barb at the current chief counsel. I can sense a little tension there, but you know, what we must do is cause public embarrassment legally. Once again, I'm encouraging everybody, and let me be very, very clear about this. We need to engage in this campaign in a legal, peaceful way, in a way that's respectful but legal, right? Memes are legal, right? Humor is legal, parody is legal. Now, it's legal in America. So one of the big things here is that, you know, we can make memes that are considered disrespectful to the Japanese in America. So under Japanese law, they might be defamation, right? But in America, they're called fair use and criticism, right? So under American law, God bless America, we need to go out there and create those memes. We need to go out there and just absolutely go for them, because that's the way we're going to get their attention. Because when the Japanese see these things, when they see the tags in Japanese, tagging the Japanese company, use the kanji, it'll be in the description below. That's when they're really going to wake up. That's when they're going to be like, what the hell is going on here? This is disrespectful. What's going on? Because they don't know. They're not paying attention. When they wake up and when all of a sudden the Pokemon Company International and their boba liberal, insane activist, litigation crazy chief legal counsel, Jennifer, right? We're going to get into her in a second. When they find out about, they're going to have some splaining to do. And they're really not going to have anything to explain for it. They're going to say, "Well, we thought suing everybody was great. We thought the strategy was amazing. We thought it was great. Well, we think DEI is great too. We think kicking kids out of card games is amazing. That's great for us, right? That's great for the Pokemon Company. That's what we want." And the Japanese are going to be like, "What the fuck?" Like, it's going to be epic, because that meeting is going to be the most uncomfortable thing ever. Trust me, I'm a corporate attorney. I've been general counsel. I've worked with big corporations. When these parent companies abroad find this out, there will be a reckoning in that boardroom. I do not want to be a fly on the wall on that call. That is going to be so awkward. And let's make it awkward for them, because they've decided to engage in this campaign of bullying the little guy, of picking on the small company. They thought they could pick on Power World and beat up on them. They thought they can beat up on modders. They thought they can beat up on the freaking Super Mario supermarket in Costa Rica. Yes, that's a real thing. Yes, that's a real thing. They did that. That's insane, crazy litigation. So what we got to do especially is go after the sacred Pokemon execs, especially the Japanese ones, because by memeing them, once again, these are friendly memes. They're under US law. We find it friendly. They find it disrespectful culturally, right? Once again, you have to understand Japanese culture here. You know, anybody who's really in Japan or been to Japan, like I have, like many of my friends who live there, know this is the way. This is the way to do it. You got to poke them where they're sensitive, just to wake them up. Once again, we just want to wake them up. And once they're woken up, once the problem is fixed, we'll go back to being super respectful. We'll go back to being cool. We'll go back to making good games and fair criticism. But for now, we got to meme them. So what do? We engage in fair use criticism under American law. We have videos criticizing them. We have memes. One of the big targets, I think, that you guys can go for, create memes and everything else, is Tsunekaze Ishihara. That's going to really get under their skin. We got to paint him as the Giovanni or the Gary, right? He's got to be the top villain here in all of the memes, because that's going to wake the Japanese up. Tagging that on X, tagging that on Twitter, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, everywhere else, every single platform. We got to be making memes out here until they ask what the heck is going on. The other thing you can do is contact your political representatives. This is very, very important, because a lot of what's going on here with patents needs to be stopped. You need to call them up and say, what the hell is the Pokemon Company International doing with their patents? Why are these getting rubber stamped? What's going on in the patent office? Hey, we need an investigation in the patent office. Can you guys look into the patent office and see what the hell is going over there? Who is approving these patents? Why were they doing this? There needs to be a check on these people. There needs to be some accountability, and your political representatives can do that. Call them up, give them a call. Remember to get on the phone. That's the most effective way. You can also send a letter. You can write them. You can go see them. But calling is super effective with getting your political representatives. Use these specific tags. Remember, this is a big one. I still see you guys out there using Nintendo. You cannot use Nintendo. Nintendo is used to haters. Nintendo owns a large share, 32%, of the Pokemon Company. And it is relevant. We're going to get into the change there that's happening at Nintendo that just got announced today. Once again, Nintendo does have a large share, But the tag that's going to annoy them is the Pokemon Company International, specifically this Japanese kanji right here. This is the name in Japanese. This is Japanese kanji, right? This is a name romanized, right? So you can use both if you want to. You can copy paste both. You can copy paste all three, but make sure you're using this one. And if any Japanese speakers are out there, any Chads out there that know Japanese, make posts in Japanese, get the Japanese audience out there. I'm going to have a Japanese translation of one of my original videos out there so that the Japanese can know. I'm paying some good money for that one. But we need to let the Japanese know, because the Japanese don't know. We got to keep it up for over a week. They think it's going to die down in a few days. They're going to break. I have enough. I'll tell you right now, I have enough content to keep this going for a while. And if they don't know about LawTube and don't know about what we do and haven't seen my coverage of Johnny Somali or Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, oh, baby, we can keep it up for days. I can keep my PP up for days. You can count on that. Hold on. I got a new reaction that may go with that. Objection. Hope you guys like that one. But anyways, we're going to be able to keep this up for a while. I'm going to keep this going. I'm not going to stop till there's some change, till there's some action here, or until I get a cease and desist, whatever comes first, right? But if they do, I'll publicize that, and I'll make sure to make it very, very clear that they're trying to shut down fair use and criticism. So have fun with that either way. Once again, LawTube profits either way. We all profit either way. They can strike one of us down, but we will rise. We will become stronger. We will multiply, right? This is what happens, right? When you mess around like this. So let's get into they hate kids, right? There's a teen who was laughed at. A teen who laughed when asked for preferred pronouns was kicked out of a Pokemon card tournament. This is part of their DEI and other ESG DEI initiative. They cannot tolerate anybody who doesn't accept their religion. And forcing a child to accept your religion of pronouns is not okay. There are many people of different religions, ethnicities, whatever else, that do not acknowledge the use of whatever the pronouns, or don't even acknowledge that. Maybe they don't even use pronouns, right? So when you get asked that and you just laugh about it, okay, that's reasonable. In fact, that's even discriminatory against somebody who might not believe in that and might not carry that belief. They just laughed. They didn't hurl out a racial slur. They didn't hurl out anything else. They just laughed. That's it. And they were kicked out of the Pokemon card tournament. And let me read the story here so you guys know I'm not making this up. It's in Charlotte. A teenager who plays Pokemon trading card game, TCG. Remember, this is very similar to like MTG, Wizards of the Coast. I used to play MTG semi-competitively. My ELO score isn't great, but I did all right. I really just like burn. I like to get through it quickly. But anyways. So this guy was playing at a high competitive level and was disqualified after he laughed when he was asked his pronouns. Makani Tran was out $800, a couple of flights, and missed school time after he offended a non-binary judge, cutting his tournament run short for a bizarre reason. The teenager said he never meant to offend anyone and was close to tears when disqualified. Literally, the guy's it's a teenager. You're picking on a child. You have a judge who's supposed to be neutral, right? Judges are supposed to be neutral. But instead, they have these DEI, ESG approved judges that are out here kicking out children because they refuse to accept their religion, right? And once again, the religion of you are required to have pronouns, right? That is not something everybody has to accept. And let me be very clear about this. If you want to use alternative pronouns in your regular life, you tell all your friends, do whatever you want, that's your right. You can do that, right? My issue is compelled speech. My issue has always been compelled speech. Compelled speech is wrong. It's un-American, and it should not be done anywhere, any place, anytime. That is a DEI, ESG thing, right? That's it. That's all. And mind you, this was not an instance where this teenager like misgendered the judge, right? The judge had a plaque that said, "Call me they, them," and they called it, they called him it or something like that. That wasn't what happened here, right? They just laughed at the question. That's a much different issue. That's much different. So he even said he was facing off against one of the U.S.'s best players, Alex Shiminsky, and had nerves, laughing awkwardly. So literally, this is you're laughing at an awkward teenager who's in a high pressure situation. And trust me, I know. I've been in these tournaments. I've gotten to the playoffs, like to the knockout rounds, right? After the general pop is out and you're in the knockouts. It's tense. You're really worried because there's a lot of money on the line. There's status on the line. It's a big thing. So the fact that you laugh nervously at that and they kick you out, Talk about snowflake of snowflakes of snowflake. That is uber DEI. And the fact is, they haven't backed down from that. They've only doubled down from that, particularly under their new chief general counsel, or rather their chief legal officer, Jennifer. We're going to get into Jennifer in a second. So here's another one that you guys know. Pokemon sues fans to block a Pokemon party on the eve of the PAX convention in Seattle. It's happened in 2015. So literally these people, these were fans that just wanted to run a Pokemon tournament. A Pokemon event, right? They just wanted to have some themed shots, dancing, giveaways, cosplay. But can fans have nice things under this Pokemon, authoritarian Pokemon regime? No, they cannot. Fans cannot have fun. Fans are not allowed to have fun because the poster had Pikachu and Snivy. I'll show the next one. Pikachu's image was also used to promote it. So because of this poster here, once again, this is for legal, educational, fair use purposes. I'm showing this to educate, right? It's fair use. It's very fair use. The Pokemon Company International, Kabushiki Gaisha Pokemon. This is the Japanese name right there. Kabushiki Gaisha Pokemon. They hate fans. They hate fun. They hate free events, right? No cover all night with DJ Dirty. DJ Dirty Bit. I want to get down with DJ Dirty Bit. Yes. To have a little reaction there. It sounds like a fun event, but we can't have fun at Pokemon. No. Thanks to who? Jennifer Leo. And I may be mispronouncing her last name, which, Jennifer, no offense, Leo or Leo, whatever. I'm going to call her Jen. We'll call her Jen. We're going to talk to Miss Jen over here, right? Jenny. We'll call her Jenny, right? Jenny. These people, and we knew this during the Kirk incident, they put way too much on LinkedIn. And it just so turns out, Shock Pikachu can confirm, she's the current chief legal officer at LinkedIn. These people expose themselves left and right. So did a little bit of looking around here. Look at this. Shock Pikachu. She worked at Sony, another giga woke DEI company. All the other gaming channels, all the other people out there are going to be able to back me up on this one. They are absolutely one of the worst of the worst of the worst offenders. So not surprised there. Not surprised there at all. And I listened to an interview, which I will give in my full form. It's going to be a very long stream. I'm going to go through it all. I went through what she did and who she is. So here's the big thing about her that you guys need to know. She started her career as an activist, and she virtue signaled, and this is a kind of code talk. You can watch the interview. I'll try to post the link below. They may try to take it down because they're going to be scared of it being exposed. But what they do to virtue signal is they start by talking about their activism. Now, she talks about experiencing racism at a fraternity during college. And let me be very clear. I'm very much against racism and very sympathetic to that. One of my very, very close friends in Korea, head of an Asian sorority over there in Texas, would tell me, hey, no, this stuff does happen. And I'm very sympathetic to that. And I think this should be corrected. People should be punished when they go through that. But the key here is, why would you lead with that as your purpose for getting into law? That is a virtue signal. That is a code speak for saying, I am an activist. I am an activist first and foremost. I am on team activist, right? That is her getting that message out there. So that's how she led the interview. She also goes into, and there's a lot of other details, but one of the very important things is she was heavy in litigation. All she did was she eats, sleeps, and drinks litigation. This is a litigation. I've never met a lawyer that is more litigation hungry than Jenny. And not only that, but she says that her top qualification for the lawyer she hires is litigation experience, not transactional experience. That is insane. As a person who's worked as a general counsel, right? As associate general counsel, I've worked with general counsel. That is nuts. You want general counsel that is transactional. Why the hell are you hiring a litigator as your chief general counsel? That is nuts. You need somebody who puts business first. That's transactional lawyers. The difference is, guys, litigation attorneys live and breathe inside the courtroom. Transactional attorneys are attorneys like myself and many others that are the quiet behind the scenes attorneys that you don't normally see, because you know what we do? We generate win-wins for company. We generate business. We make deals. We make contracts. We make things happen. That's not what Jennifer does. Or Jenny. Sorry, Jenny. That's not what Jenny does. What Jenny does is destroy people. What Jenny does is sue supermarkets in Costa Rica. What she does is sue, kick kids out of events. What she does is go after people that you don't need to go after. She starts in these campaigns, launches in these insane crusades that are unnecessary for the company. It is completely unnecessary for the company from a business standpoint. It is a business loss. You are losing money by investing so heavily in litigation. You are losing money. Whenever you sue, you are losing money. You're not making money. Nobody is like net winning off of that. Even if you win your little IP, your petty IP battle, you've lost so much in legal fees. And more than that, you've lost good favor, you lost good marketing, and you become the villain. Congratulations, Jenny. I hope you're happy you become the villain. Right. So once again, you see, this is a boba liberal type, never been outside their gated community, never seen, hey, this is what gamers are. This is what they're doing. This is what they want. They're not giving the gamers. She's not giving the gamers what they want. She doesn't know Pokemon as deeply as the people that love the product. She doesn't understand the people modding, the people out there who are contributing to this. And that's a big problem. That's a huge problem. With Jenny. Now, a little bit of extra here. So this is Sutaro Furukawa. Now, some people, by the way, some people are trying to say that I don't know the Nintendo structure. No, I know. Nintendo owns a portion of the Pokemon Company, right? There's a Pokemon Company in Japan and a subsidiary in America, right? The subsidiary in America is in Washington. They're very heavy DEI, super giga woke, right? This guy's over here in Japan with Nintendo, right? So he's controlling Nintendo Japan. Their subsidiaries Nintendo in America. So what you got here, what do you got right here? You got Devin Pritchard coming in. She's just going to be in for Nintendo of America. Now, once again, not direct relationship to Pokemon International Company. Of course, they all have each other's phone numbers. They all can call each other, right? But it looks like we're going to get more DEI and whatnot at Nintendo Company of America. So once again, if this is the type of thing you want to see these companies torn apart, you want to see lawfare, this is what's going to happen at the company. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.